Starting button. Actually, it just starts now. Good morning. Welcome to the show today. I'm B2B. This is Mark Putrino, your professor. How are you today, Mark?
I'm good. How are you?
I lost my graphics somehow. To start the show. Sorry.
Oh, I
So,
gotta
how are
share
you
my
today,
screen.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know. It's, I'm glad my internet's working this morning because our Wi-Fi is out for some reason. I don't understand this. This is why I can't stand technology. It's like, all right, so I'm watching the Giants game last night. The Dolphins game was pretty much over.
It was gross. Did you see it? No, they won it on the last game, the last play.
Oh, really? No, I was. I
Tennessee
thought.
did. It was gross.
What happened?
Oh, just pitiful defense. They just let Tennessee march down the field twice and score two touchdowns on them, and then to get a 2 point conversion, it was disgusting.
It's disgusting. Uh, this guy, the Giants have got this guy who's a quarterback now who's like a walk-on,
Mm-hmm.
and he's this Italian guy from New Jersey. And look at what he was wearing last night. They were showing this, right? My wife's like, what is he going to a costume party? He's like trying to dress like this mobster. See this guy? That's
Trying
what
to
he
have
was
some
wearing last
style,
night.
man.
It's like, I don't know, man. I'm a little offended as a, oh, here we go. A little offended as an Italian American. That's a kind of a,
Goomba suit.
you know. Well, but I don't know, dude. So anyway, I was watching the game with Kate, and they showed him on the sidelines, and we were just like, "What is this guy on his way to a freaking, Halloween party or something?" Um, but anyway, the Italian stallion of sports agents. So he's a New Jersey guy. Let's say the whole where the Sopranos took place and everything. Tommy DeVita. Anyway, it was pretty interesting. I mean, not that I care because I hate the Giants. Yeah, here he is. But I don't know. It's kind of a cool thing, right? Oh, look at this. Is that him there too? God, dude, it's like, dude, you look like a friggin' idiot, man. Um, all right. Anyway, yeah, that's a good one there. He's got the bracelets.
The pinstripes.
I guess he's married. He's got a ring on.
The pinstripes are nice, though.
He's got the three-piece suit too. See the vest?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, anyway, they won, so we're giving the whole Italian show to Vito Tolespato. It's going to be craziness. We're going to give them the Italian theater they've been asking for. Chicken cutlets, Italian sandwiches, baked ziti, sausage, peppers, rice balls. We've got an Italian flag with Tommy's picture on it, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, man. I just think it's pretty funny. That's, well, whatever. All right, so let's see what's going on today. Twisted Ivy. Harvard expected to stick. These people are friggin' idiots, man.
I can't believe
It's
that
like-
they invest that the people that put into this, that invest into this school into their endowment funds are not pulling all their money out and just saying this is over.
A lot of them are, man. Bill Ackman. A lot of them. A lot. See, one of the main things that a college president should do, or one of their main, whatever responsibilities, is raising money. And, these people are. I don't think they're qualified to be in these positions, all right? And I'll just leave it at that. I don't. It's like, you got to be freaking kidding me, man. The First Amendment is really meant just for political speech, if you want to speak out against the government.
Right.
But I don't know. And these schools charge so much friggin' money, and I think the Harvard endowment is it's like $50 billion. It's like, why don't they use some of that money to keep the tuition costs down, right? So endowments are institutional clients, and someone is managing that money for Harvard. But I mean, they're so big, maybe they have their own investment team there. But I don't know. I think it's a little. You know what it is, dude. I think it's this. So this will be my last little rant. It's like when people if people 50 years ago, if you said, "Oh yeah, I went to Harvard or I went to Yale," you must be like, "Wow, you're really
Yeah.
smart." Now it's like, "Oh, I went to Harvard, I went to Yale." It's like, yeah, and big deal. They don't take SAT scores anymore. The students at the Yale Law School. Okay, get this. Yale up in New Haven. My brother's a Yale man. He went to business school there. The students were protesting the name of one of the buildings, right? The building was Lynch
Right.
Hall, all right? Because the person who donated the money was last name was
Right.
Lynch. But they're saying that that's an offensive word for them, okay? It's like these are supposed to be the minds, the best and the brightest,
Well, it's part of
that they're like
it's part of the whole culture when you start tearing down statues and replacing things and killing history. They've been whitewashing, or not whitewashing, but trying to sanitize history instead of letting it tell the truth. And that's the problem. Is that as long as you keep covering up the historical facts that were bad, somebody's going to do it again and again and again. You have to let people see it, and people have to uh, be able to adjust to it.
yeah, it's really I think if people knew our country's history, that we probably wouldn't be having some of the problems.
No.
Oh boy, look at that Putin critic missing from prison. Oh boy, probably I don't know where that guy fell, and they do a lot of times. That means if something gaps, meaning closed here and opened here, so there are price levels it didn't trade at. Okay, there's no vested interest that builds in there. One of the main reasons why we get support is because we have remorseful sellers trying to buy their shares back. But when you rip through the levels really quick like this, you're not going to get a big amount of interest, I guess, right? So there's a good chance that if the shares eventually turn around and come back to these same price levels coming the other way, then it could go right back through them really quickly. So that's something to keep an eye on. As traders, this is the type of stuff we look for, like something's at support above a gap or below resist or at resistance or whatever. And you can see here our simple basic principles, right? What was resistance here, resistance over here. Yeah, I mean this market looks good, dude. I mean, I have to say I'm a little surprised, but because of that sentiment reading and interest rates moving, but we got some pretty positive action here in the financials, right?
Right.
We got above the resistance, then we consolidated, and now moving up nice and steady though. This is what you want, right? Nice, steady, slow, kind of boring. And the same thing happened with the healthcare sector. So when markets go higher, they're like a staircase. They don't go in a straight line. So they get to resistance, and that resistance breaks, and then it turns into support, and then that sets the stage up for another move higher. So that looks pretty healthy there as well. But on the bearish side, you have that sentiment reading, which was kind of an extreme, and you have the whole situation over here in our interest rates.
Oh, wow.
All right, yeah. So if this breaks back above here, then that's going to really start weighing on the market. But I think as long as we're down in this range here, I guess it should be okay. And then the tech sector. Right, so this is looking. Oh wait, that's financial. Sorry. So I can't stand technology, right? It's like so. Anyway, I was watching the game last night. I don't know. It was over like maybe 11 o'clock, 11:30. Shut it off, went to sleep. I get up this morning and my Wi-Fi's not working.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's like no one did anything. And my wife works from home and she's on Wi-Fi. So after this call, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Although she's more technically savvy than I am. So anyway, this looks pretty good here. Let's see what Apple looks like. Interesting. Yeah, now this is what we talked about with Apple, right? Getting close to resistance, and it was overbought. So we kind of sold off here. And this morning,
Flat.
we're kind of flat. Let's see what's going on with SPY. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a move there. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird market. All right. So let's look at Microsoft. Hello there, order flows. That Jax, order flow trader. And Microsoft was down as well. Huh. I just want to look at some of these big companies here. Berkshire Hathaway. So it's like, where is this strength coming from?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. It's like, I guess a big part of it was here. Now I would be. This is something where I would be looking at this for a potential reversal here, because again, just nothing special, but it's overbought and it's at resistance. See, we got resistance back here. A lot of times you run into resistance at former resistance levels, and there's a reason for that. You got people that bought back here that now that it's finally what was I going to say here? All right, so anyway, people bought up here, and they go underwater, and now they're like, oh, it's finally back to my level. I'm going to sell so I can get out of this thing and break even. So there could be some resistance there, and the overbought conditions are going to draw sellers into the market.
Maru, you can't overtrade that stock. I've done the same thing with Google. It will, when you revenge trade it, you will beat yourself down.
Nvidia was down yesterday. So Broadcom was up big. So it's almost like all the strength yesterday was these two stocks, Broadcom and AMD. But these are going to be hard moves to sustain. I mean, I guess you could even kind of say that it's almost like panic buying, right? I don't know. It's pretty unusual action here. But anyway, let's just go along here. I just want to see what the Qs are doing. All right, so that's Qs. This is the regular Qs. Now let's look at the one that is the equal weight. Yeah, so it's like what is it called? The dash for trash?
Yes. Well, those would be bad companies,
Yeah. This small cap. All right, let's just keep going here. Consumers. So we like going through these sectors. There's 10, 11 of them. These are them. So we can go up. If we look at the S&P makeup, which you can see here, we go to our sectors, right? So here are the 12 or 11 sectors. So different sectors are in charge, I guess, or in the driver's seat at different times. But these sectors down here, real estate, materials, and utilities, these are all less than 2.5%. And believe it or not, when I first started doing this, energy was the biggest sector. And look at it now, it's not even 4%. Wow. So it shows you how important tech has come. So these guys, we look at them because we can get signals there, potentially. But they don't really move the broader markets. However, energy, even though it's such a small component, this could move the broader markets. Staples is pretty small, but sometimes money flows into this right before the market goes down. And that's the traditional flight to safety. People go into stocks that they perceive as being less risky. So these other sectors are pretty much the important ones to look at, right? Tech, financials, healthcare, consumer discretionary, communication services, and industrials. So communication services is XLC. And this is flat this morning. It was down yesterday. So notice what was resistance here became support over here. Because people sold and they regret selling when the price goes higher and they go to buy their shares back. And they place, if you have enough remorseful sellers placing buy orders at the level that was resistance, it can turn into support like it did here. All right, let's see what some of the news here. FBI says medical marijuana cultivators and caregivers can own guns, but patients cannot. Okay. Ford
They won't be
F-50
able to keep
Lightning.
that. That's against your Second Amendment. How can they do that to people when it's recreationally
Um,
available everywhere?
I don't know. My medicine or my gun? Well, I don't really know, but maybe they prescribe medical marijuana for depression. Because when I went to get my gun permit, I remember you fill out the questions, right? Like like the Hunter Biden question,
Yeah,
right? Are you
absolutely. Well, and
it's like,
that's
are you on
yeah, and I
drugs?
think
Are
that's
you
the point
depressed?
behind that process. But if you have a medical condition and you have a right to bear arms, that right shouldn't be taken apart because you've got something wrong with you. I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I can understand mentally,
Well, I mean, maybe they just, you don't want to give a gun to someone who's really depressed,
right?
right? Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's messed up. All right, what do we else we got here? Lost in the transition, da, 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 exclusives. Oh, okay. Let's look at Macy's because there was a takeover bid yesterday, and I think the issue is they won't. It's kind of interesting. There's two firms that are taking it over. One of them is a real estate firm. So the thought is that Macy's there's their New York store
Hmm.
right in Herald Square. I mean this doesn't give you an idea of how big it actually is. I mean it's like 6 stories and it's like a whole block. So the bid price was 19. Oh, actually no, 21. Sorry. So Arc House focuses on real estate investments. So the bidders are almost certainly interested in Macy's for its real estate. So this, I don't know if you can really kind of get a trading idea out of this, but long term, if this thing goes through, it could be a good thing for the company. So I know that's kind of an ambiguous statement, but if the company turns them down, there's a good chance they increase the bid that they're willing to pay.
Yeah.
All right. So that would drive the stock a little bit higher. A lot of these things didn't go through. Um, yeah, so some of these other companies have been having problems as well. But it's not a done deal. Let's see. Macy's executives have said the retailer is evolving to return to sales growth. Chief executive is set to retire next year, and here are the reins to Macy's president and CEO-elect Tony Spring. So a lot of times these guys they turn these bids down because they know they're going to get fired, right? These guys are coming in there saying, "Hey, we're going to buy you out. We're going to take you private. We're going to restructure the company, and then we're eventually the idea is to sell it for a much higher price to go public again."
Right.
So there's stuff like this though that they would have to go through. Some locations might have deed restrictions, which could prohibit the development of properties. I mean, there's a lot to this because these guys own a lot of different stores. They have a store here in Stanford, and yeah, they have a. I went in there last year, and they actually have Toys R Us in there, which is weird. So I guess at some point Macy's bought Toys R Us, but I thought
I
Toys R
thought they
Us.
just completely went out of business.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Fended off pressure from activists in the past, who urged it to sell off its real estate and lease it back. Um, let's see. They plan to build an office tower above its flagship store in Herald Square. Wow, that's kind of weird. Anyway, all right, that's kind of an interesting story that we're going to be following. And what else we got here? There was a couple other things I saw that looked pretty cool. Oh, look at that, the World Excel Champions. I used to be really good at Excel. The Mahone Meltdown. Oh, look at this. Crooked priest. He might have been Pope. Instead, he may go to prison. All right. Yeah, that Vatican, man. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, dude.
Crooked
You know?
stuff, man. It's sad that those are the leaders of the world, the world religion, and they act like they do.
Yeah, it's really a shame because I mean, I was raised Catholic, and I'm not really like a practicing Catholic, but this whole thing with these gay priests or the pedophile priest, it was such an open secret. And my aunt is, she's friends with a lot of gay people for whatever reason. And I remember talking to this couple. What the hell were their name? Rob and Al. These two gay men, and they were telling me like, yeah, it's like, well, all gay kids know that, like, that the priests are pedophiles. It's just like a boy would fantasize about like his teacher, who's hot math teacher, seducing him, like in the Van Halen "Got It
Yeah,
Bad" for
yeah.
teacher, right? They're like, the boys were attracted to these priests, so it was an open thing. Like people knew what was going on, and they just kind of turned a blind eye to it. And I just think that's really,
Disgusting.
really. I mean, you don't get more messed up than that. It's like like I would never let my kids go to Penn State because of the whole thing with what's his face there, not Paterno, but what was the guy's
Oh,
name?
the coach. I cannot remember his name, but I remember you talking about. God, he was such a disgusting dude.
Yeah, he actually started a home for troubled kids, and those were his targets. So that's your true pedophiles. They
Yeah.
target people. They don't look for. They don't go after the guys or the kids, I should say, who's got a father who's going to come kick their ass if they ever find out. So now, when me and Kate got married, we went to this thing that they call
Hmm.
pre-Cana, and you just whatever. You spend the day there and you just talk about various issues, and there's a lot of people there. So I remember I met the priest, and the priest was Father Michael, and I just remember thinking like this guy had literally manicured fingernails, and it's like, is that the ultimate sign of vanity, right? You got manicured fingernails, nothing is out of place. And we told the priest that married us, Father Fred, he's like, who did your pre-Cana? And it was like, Father Michael. And he was just like he didn't say anything, but I could tell he didn't like the guy. So, so anyway, make a long story short, this guy is the priest at St. Michael's, so Father Michael in the church of St. Michael's. And it's in North Greenwich, which is literally one of the richest places in probably not even just the country, but the world. You get these $20 million houses all over the place. So that's where he was. Anyway, the story is that someone was on a plane going to I think they were going to Acapulco in Mexico, and they saw him with his boyfriend
Uh,
on the plane. So that's when it came out, and they started investigating him. And he was every Monday morning he would make a deposit into his account, and it was always a little bit of a different number. It was like $632, whatever. He was stealing the money that they put into the collection plate to finance his
to take
lifestyle.
care of his
You
boyfriend.
know, yeah, yeah. So, but they stashed him away somewhere. They just move him around. Um,
See, that's the
what
problem.
they really should.
When something like that happens, you have to look at the people involved, and if you're not trying to fix the problem, you're part of the problem. And if they're letting these people get away with it, how far up in the Catholic Church does it actually go?
Yeah, they know. Yeah, it's like it's you turn a blind eye to it,
Right.
right? People should be speaking out
So
against
you're
it.
all culpable.
So if you don't want to follow the rules, don't become a priest. I mean,
Or if
geez,
you have bad
that's
intentions towards children, the Bible says the teachers and the preachers are held to a higher account than the poor souls that know no better, that don't know better.
really
Yeah.
interesting. So cloud computing, first trust cloud computing. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not good at long term strategies, but from the trading point of view, right there you got a pretty interesting thing going on. So this is our, we get to resistance, we break through, we consolidate. So this looks pretty good here. All right. But in terms of long term, I mean, I guess it would be a good investment long term, assuming our society doesn't collapse, which it could.
Hey, Avi, I'd like to say something. I saw Benjamin Netanyahu tell him that it was the beginning of the end, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, so at Benzinga, I guess there's been a lot. It's never happened in my class, the Benzinga Trading School, but they sent an email around to people and saying like, I guess there's been a lot of real arguments and controversy and stuff over what's going on over there. But I don't know. I mean, I don't follow any of the other teachers. I just know what goes on in my class, and as far as I know, I've never seen anyone say anything that was, the only one who ever said anything that was controversial was that dude that we had to kick out. What's his
Oh,
face now?
Kyle.
Yeah, because it's like he was just making the girls feel uncomfortable, and you know, it's like hogging the chat room or whatever. World World Excel champions. That's pretty cool. All right, so we got this CPI number coming out in a few minutes here, and let's see what the estimates are supposed to be. Oh, you know what? We saw. It looks like some of these cryptos are really starting to come back. I mean, I should say go down. Yeah. So not surprising, like when you get that overbought to see kind of a reversal like that. Um, let's go here. I like looking at the news over here. News. Um, Cannabis stocks. Swing trading, momentum trading, news. Great workspace. Wolf Research. So Wolf Research is a firm that is what we call an independent investment firm. So they get paid for providing research. They don't do any investment banking. So their research tends to be a little bit better than some of the investment banks research. Let's see, B. Riley. Top utility stocks that should keep you up at night. Let's look at the utility sector. All right, so utilities are looking pretty good as well. Got above this resistance level, and now we're consolidating. So there could be some movement here with interest rates. So just keep that in mind, because interest rates are kind of in play, and they will be even more in another minute when this number comes out. But bonds and utilities are competitors. People generally buy utilities for income. So if interest rates are going down, meaning if bonds are rising and interest rates are going down, that's going to take money out of the bond market and potentially go into here. And the same thing with the real estate sector. People generally get into this for income. And I mean, look at this. It's just amazing how these levels can just be so precise. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I uploaded the newsletter. Okay. So the digital download.
Okay, I'll get it fixed up.
All right. I like to watch the S&P whenever important news comes out, just to see if it's going to move. That's kind of the trader background in me. It's like I don't know if it's good or bad news, but if the stock's up, I guess it's good. If the stock's down, I guess it's bad. So pretty much right where we were before. Oh, now we're up a little bit. So I guess the number must be out, and it must be
307.051.
What was the estimate?
The estimate was 306.9. The previous.
So it came in above estimates. Huh. All right, let's think about this. So that would show that there's inflation. So I wonder why the market likes that. Or maybe this is just an early reaction here. We're not talking about like a huge.
Well, there's two numbers here, Mark. There's a US CPI and a US CPI SA. Is that the one you want?
What's the regular one?
The regular one is 307.51, and the SA is 307.917, and the forecast on it was 307.9.
Oh boy. When you see stuff like this, it's like, oh boy. With a high chance of a soft landing. When they talk about the landing thing, um, here's the thing, right? Inflation's a really bad thing, and the reason why the Fed raises rates is because they want to really slow down the economy because that'll keep inflation down. So they're saying here the soft landing is that they're raising rates, but it's not going to drive the economy into recession. Back in the early 80s, when inflation was really high, even higher than it is now, Paul Volcker, who was the Federal Reserve Chairman, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that like overnight they made a surprise move and they raised the interest rates by a full point, and that cracked the inflation, but it also put the economy into like a recession. So that would be the hard landing.
But it fixed it in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the debate. I don't think anyone really knows. Inflation fears down, consumer optimism up. Oracle shares. Let's look at Oracle. And I got to go a little bit early today because I got to go figure out how to get this damn Wi-Fi working. Oracle. Where's this guy? Wow, look at that. Oof, man, I'm getting crushed. All right, so let's just take a look at Oracle. So we're right here in the pre-market. And, this is a pretty interesting thing here because this shows us our psychological price levels. People like nice round levels, and look at that. What's nicer and rounder than $100? And look at where it found support. Like literally, I'm going to make this precisely 100. So sometimes price levels are important because of their psychological thing. And so we get down to 100. Think about it. A lot of people have told themselves, all right, well, if it gets to 100, I'm going to buy it. They don't say if it gets to 99 or if it gets to 97. They say if it gets to 100. So if this thing keeps going lower, I'd look for some support and maybe a rebound off of the $100 level. So let's see when these guys reported. Revenue. Oracle tumbles. Look at that. Share slump pre-market. All right, anyway, just something to keep an eye on there. All right, if it gets to 100. But you don't buy it just because it gets to 100. You want to wait for the reversal to start. You don't want to do what they call the catch a falling knife. So you got here, say we get down to there, right? Well, there's a chance that it could keep going like this. So what we want to do is wait for it to start going back up because it may not reverse. I mean, there's a good chance it does, but there's a good chance it doesn't. So you want to buy it on the way back up. So instead of trying to catch the exact bottom, if this thing gets to 100, maybe you wait for it to start to get up to maybe 101 or 102 before you jump in. The key is to wait for the reversal. We got to think about a setup, a trigger, and an exit strategy. So the setup is that we're really oversold and we're at support, assuming it gets there. The trigger, meaning the thing that actually makes you get into the trade, would be the reversal. Think about it like this. Like it's like at a race where the starter is like on your mark, get ready, get set. But no one goes until the trigger is triggered. So this prevents you in a lot of situations from getting run over. You might not get the absolute bottom price, but it's better than getting run over. Maru. So Tony just put the email addresses in there. All right, everyone, I got to get going early today. I apologize. I got to go fix this Wi-Fi. And that's it. I guess we'll see.
Hey, you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out there in the market.